Hello, I'm Sierra Durbin, also known on my social media Sierra All-Star. I looked into some interesting literary magazines this week and stumbled upon this one called the Aurora Journal. This magazine caught my eye because it is dedicated for work that is surreal, ethereal, and dreamy, as it states on their main page. The poem I will be reading is To You Who Wished Upon a Star by a young writer named Laiba Yousuf. The writing theme for this week was first impressions, so after I picked a journal that I wanted to look through and chose the Autumn 2021 volume, I gandered through the titles of all the poems. I selected this poem because the title sounded dreamy. It reminded me of the Disney song When You Wish Upon a Star. I love stars, fairy tales, and all things Disney, so of course I had to click and find out what the poem is about. After reading it, I felt like my soul was touched by magic. Now I will read To You Who Wished Upon a Star. Falling is an aesthetic. Twilight falls like a curtain of petaled daydreams because the ocean of stars is a Spotify playlist that cuddles you like autumn's blanket, and marigolds bloom upon flower beds as if they were tears from the stars. The moon yawns and bids goodbye, and we ache for another evening on our rooftop underneath an embroidered cosmos. We wish for good grades upon an eternal line of light scattered across the sky like a confetti. It's all a new perspective. I can connect with this poem because the image in my mind while reading through it the first time depicted a young artist who is often a night owl, looking up the stars for inspiration while listening to her favorite Spotify playlist. This image was relatable because this is often what I always do when I'm getting my creative juices flowing. Also, autumn is my favorite season, and it felt like this writer was depicting a crisp autumn night because of the references like falling is an aesthetic, twilight falls, autumn's blanket, as well as mentioning marigolds. This poet does a beautiful job using figurative language as well as imagery. She uses similes and metaphors to make the look of the stars feel familiar, comforting, and relaxing to gaze upon. The first simile we see is in the beginning of the poem. Twilight falls like a curtain of petaled daydreams. Figurative language continues to be used in the next few lines because the ocean of stars is a Spotify playlist that cuddles you like autumn's blanket. Here she uses the metaphor of the stars being a Spotify playlist, which then blends into a simile in the next line when she states, that cuddles you like an autumn's blanket. The feeling of what it's like to look at these stars is what many people can relate to, as most probably find the nighttime to be peaceful. She also compares the way that marigolds bloom to tears from the stars in the following lines. Marigolds bloom upon flower beds as if they were tears from the stars. And then there's also a simile towards the end of light scattered across the sky like a confetti. I saw beauty in each of these lines. In response to You Who Wished Upon a Star, I challenge you to write a poem in which you depict a dreamy scene using either metaphors or similes or a combination of the two and make a wish of your own. Try and use graceful language and make the scene come to life on the page. I hope this poem inspired you to write something that sounds magical. Thank you for listening.